Sorry, folks. Before the show gets going, I made a mistake in this episode. I called Minamoto Yoritomo Japan's first emperor. That's a mistake, folks. He was Japan's first shogun in the Kamakura Bakufu. Sorry about that. Minamoto Yoritomo is not the first emperor. He was the first shogun. All right. Enjoy the show, folks. Sorry about that. All right, folks, I am not long home after finishing our annual ride to Shakotan. And as always, that place did not disappoint. It really is one of the most beautiful places here in Hokkaido. And if you're kind of humming and hawing about whether or not to go see it while you're on your Hokkaido vacation, well, hum and haw no more. Go see it. You will not be disappointed, folks. Up until this year, we've always done that in one day. We've always done that ride in one day, which makes it a super ride for us. And folks, if you recall, my friends and I call a ride of over 200 kilometers a super ride. And that one to Shakotan is usually about 210 kilometers out to and back from Shakotan Kamui Misaki. I've talked about it a couple of times before on the pod in episodes 49 and 97, but just in case you don't remember or haven't heard those episodes or don't even know what Shakotan is, it is a peninsula on the west coast of Hokkaido. The peninsula juts out about 30 kilometers into the Sea of Japan and has three capes. There is Cape Kamui, Cape Ogom, and Cape Shakotan. Cape Kamui is the most famous of them all. And that, if you do know it, Cape Kamui is probably the images, is probably the pictures you've seen of it with that kind of dramatic, kind of spine-like rock formations out into the Sea of Japan. It's amazing, and it is a very famous place here in Hokkaido. So, as I was saying, we usually do it all in one day. But this year, I had an idea to break it up into 2 days, and I am super happy the Englishmen and I did just that. Okay, first the route. Now, the route is nothing special. There's no tricks to this. It's very well traveled. It's very well known, but the route itself, the ride itself is excellent. The Englishman comes up from Sapporo and me from Ishikari. We meet in Teine, and then from Teine in Sapporo, we make our way to Zenibako, which is kind of on the outskirts of Otaru. From there, it's up the Zenibako hill, then up the Hariusu Pass and down into Otaru. Then it's very simply Route 5 through Otaru, through Yoichi, Furubira, all those glorious tunnels with the nice wide sidewalks, until it turns into Route 229 all the way to the water, all the way to the Sea of Japan. Then once you hit the water, you turn left, and then it's just 11 kilometers to Kamui Misaki. Now, folks, I know that might kind of sound kind of strange. Turn left when you hit the water, but literally, there's either left or right. If you go any further, you're in the drink. So, Route 229, turn left at the water, and you're on your way to Kamui Misaki. Misaki is Japanese for cape. And please remember, even though it's very, very unlikely, I've talked about this many times on the pod, it's extremely likely you will ever meet a bear. But if you do that ride, when you're in Shakotan, please don't forget you are in bear country. Don't worry about it. There's a ton of human traffic all along. I just be aware. You know what I mean? Just keep your head up, because the possibility does go up in certain places like Shiretoko, like the corridor between Yakumo and Esashi. Shakotan is another one of those places where the risks are a little bit higher. Just be aware of it. Again, there's so much human traffic, bicycles, cars, trucks, all of it, campers, all of it, noisy humans. It's extremely unlikely. Just don't forget where you are, okay? That's all. Not to scare you or anything like that. And do be sure, when you're cycling that route, do be sure to take in all the cool rock formations all along that coastline. And also remember that there are a ton of free campsites all along the way as well. If camping is your thing, you should have absolutely no problem finding a free spot to pitch your tent somewhere along that coastline. So that was us just on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, doing that beautiful ride. And folks, I don't know how many of you listening are actually in Hokkaido right now, but we're right in the middle of Obon, the Obon holidays. And man, oh man, this Obon is hot. Holy smokes. It is hot, ain't it? Wow. Both days we were riding, Wednesday and Thursday, it was over 30 degrees Celsius. I think it hit 31 degrees Celsius. The Englishman swears, it was hotter than that. And it might very well have been, but I saw on the weather forecast somewhere along the way that it hit 31 degrees Celsius. Now, I know that's not Tokyo 38 degrees, but folks, for us living up here in Hokkaido, that is hot. And cycling 100 plus kilometers in that heat obviously comes with its own challenges, right? So, I mean, we took a couple more breaks than usual. We definitely drank a lot more water than usual. But don't forget, folks, don't just go for it. Don't just go gunning after your target. Remember, in that heat, you have to take breaks. You have to hydrate. That's just good sense. I was going to say that's good cycling sense. It's not good cycling sense. It's good any sense when you're dealing with that kind of heat. You know, take it easy. If you're feeling lightheaded, sit down. Find some air conditioning whenever you can. That's another thing we also did when we were in the convenies. You know, we really appreciated and really felt better after that kind of air conditioning blast that you got in the convenience stores, right? So, you know, take breaks, folks. Your health is very, very important. You don't just collapse out there on your bike from heat stroke, right? All right. So Wednesday, from Ishikari to Shakotan Kamui Misaki, and then we were back to Shakotan Bikuni on the Wednesday. On that Wednesday, in that 31 degree heat, we climbed 1,349 meters. And 129 kilometers on the Wednesday. That was the first day. The second day, I'm not sure. I think it was, well, the total on my odometer was 219 kilometers. So what was that? We did another 90 kilometers the second day. Sorry, folks. I didn't turn on my ride with GPS for the second day. Again, the reason I didn't turn it on is just I wasn't riding anywhere new. I wasn't riding any new route. I'd already had the route in the ride with GPS, so I can post that soonish. But there was going to be nothing new, so I didn't turn it on. But so total the weekend. Wait a minute. It wasn't the weekend. It was Wednesday, Thursday. Summer vacation, folks. I forget what day it is. Total over the couple of days was 219 kilometers with, we're very sure, over 2,000 meters of climbing. It was just a fantastic 2 days of cycling here in Hokkaido. But again, that kind of distance, those kind of climbs, again, it comes with its own challenges, but even more so when you're dealing with, you know, extreme heat. I say extreme heat because 31 degrees Celsius is extreme for Hokkaido. But, right. So anyway, we get through the ride, all the beauty, the forest, the coastline, all of it, just soaked it in. It was just gorgeous. But we finally get to Shakotan Kamui Misaki, and it was very busy. Actually, folks, it was the busiest I've ever seen it, actually. But again, it is Obon. So, you know, everybody being on holiday here in Japan, you know, even the Japanese people are touring around. People are up from Tokyo. People are driving all over Hokkaido, what have you, right? But so you've got all the Japanese tourists, but plus you've got all the usual foreign tourists as well. It's summer. Summer is prime travel time for touring around the world, right? Anyway, we get there. It's obviously packed. We park our bikes and start our way up to walk Charenka's Path. Now, folks, if you remember, Charenka's Path is the name of the walkway, the gorgeous walkway along the spine of the peninsula. It's stunning, folks. This walk is stunning. I'm not sure how long it is. A healthy me at full click with no other tourists, it takes me 10 minutes to walk out, 10 minutes to walk back. It's a kind of challenging walk because there's some steep sections. There's some steep staircase sections to it. So if you're not fully mobile, be real careful on it. Sometimes it's closed for wind. Sometimes it's closed for bears, but it is so worth it, folks. Go do that walk. Again, it's stunning. The cliffs falling into the sea with that really, really unique blue color called Shakotan blue is incredible. While you're on the walk, looking back inland at the lush mountains kind of towering over the sea, it's all very dramatic scenery. And honestly, folks, do yourself a favor and please take the time to walk Charenka's Path. Again, the whole thing will take you anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes. Maybe longer if you can't take your eyes off of the scenery. But I talked about this in episode 49, but all that, it's been a long time. It's been a couple of years. Let me tell this story again. All that dramatic scenery has a tragic, dramatic story to go along with it. And this is the story of why it's called Charenka's Path. And this is also the reason that on the gate to the walkway, it says no women allowed. Or, in Japanese, Nyonin no Kinsei no Chi. And the story, the legend behind that is the brother of Japan's very first emperor. I mean, like before the Tokugawas, the back in the Kamakura Bakufu times. The very first emperor's name was Minamoto Yoritomo, sorry. And his brother's name was Minamoto Yoshitsune. Now, Yoshitsune was a super famous samurai who, for whatever reason, was kind of sent to Hokkaido, maybe escaped to Hokkaido, whatever. But while he was here, he was living with an Ainu tribe, and he and the tribe's chief's daughter, whose name was Charenka, fell in love. And one day, Yoshitsune is called back to Kamakura for whatever reason. Lost to time. Maybe the legend's not even true. But anyway, he leaves without telling Charenka. She hears about him leaving, and she's up on top of the peninsula, and she can see his boat leaving, right? So she panics, she freaks out, she runs along the path, screaming his name. He can't hear her, and she thinks he's ignoring her, and she thinks he's leaving her for another woman. So, as she's running along, she also curses any Japanese ship with women on board to sink if they approach Shakotan. Then, as she gets to the end of the peninsula, in her grief and rage, she throws herself off the cliff. And as she hits the water, she turns into the stone pillar you see in the water today. And folks, that is the story, that is the legend of Charenka's Path. Now, stories like that are what keeps me out on the bike. Finding that kind of stuff out there is great fun, isn't it? It's all a part of that, hey, what's that over there? You know what I mean? I know I say this quite a lot, folks. Check out the signs. Google Translate the signs. You will find the information on those signboards, placards, whatever they are. They will just add so much to your ride, folks. It's really worth it. Just stop and read stuff. But anyway, the Englishman and I, on this very busy day in Shakotan, after we've maneuvered the crowds all along the path, again, I had never seen it so busy. It was packed. The walkway was packed, at different points. You had to stop to let groups through. Other groups stopped to let you through. you're just kind of maneuvering through this narrow walkway along the path. I'd never seen it like that before. But anyway, after we get the walk done, the gorgeous walk, we see it all. It's hot. We're sweating like madness. Like I can't even imagine how many liters of fluid we lost these past 2 days. But anyway, it was time to head to our campsite. Splitting the distance over 2 days seemed just like a really fun thing to do this year. So we camped at the free campsite at the beach in Bikuni, which is kind of right below Ogon Misaki, one of the other capes. And folks, if you're looking for this campsite, it has kind of two names. One is, ready? One is the Bikuni Fishing Port Coastal Green Space Park. That's a mouthful, eh? There's another name you can look it up by, the much shorter, the much simpler, Bikuni Kodamari Campsite. Google either one of those and that will get you there. And it's completely free. You don't need a reservation. Just show up, and when you leave it as clean as you found it, right? It's one of those places you have to take your garbage away with you. There are no trash cans there. But the toilets are clean, albeit sandy. It is a beach, right? There's well stocked with toilet paper, all that kind of good stuff. There's a water sink area with drinkable water. There are restaurants nearby. There's a convenience store, Seiko Mart. All of that's nearby as well. It's a really great place to camp. And it being Obon, many people had the same idea. It was a very, very busy campsite, folks. But we still found space, no problem. We were kind of on the edge of it all, really. But, we weren't cramped in with anybody else, being that kind of far outside the main area of the whole thing. But, even being kind of on the outskirts of the campsite, there was still a great vibe in the whole area, right? I mean, just everybody was having fun camping on summer vacation, right? You gotta love it, right? Of course, at night, after we'd set up our one-man tents, the Englishman and I had a few beers. But what made the night really great was we had a clear night sky. So as always, in a place with low light pollution, there were satellites zipping by all over the place. I mean, it was just constant, nonstop. But what was even better than the satellites were this week, you can see the Perseids, the meteors, flying through the air. They have been visible this week. And that Wednesday night was the 12th. I think Thursday night, the 13th, is when the Perseids will be at their peak. All week they've been visible, and I've seen quite a few this past week. It's been excellent. I love seeing stuff like that. We were lucky enough to see 4 bright, long, beautiful shooting stars. I mean, just gorgeous. When you see them, it always takes a sec to go, hey, man, wow, that was really something, because it's over so fast as well, right? I mean, well, sorry, at least I saw them. The Englishman didn't see any. He claimed he had the wrong glasses on to not be able to see them, but I think it was mostly because of the heat stroke. Anyway, an awesome night camping in Bikuni. Just a really, really fun time. We didn't do a campfire or anything like that. There were tons of people all around the place with campfires going. I don't know. We just didn't feel like getting one going. So anyway, after an awesome night with the absolutely gorgeous night sky, just putting on a show, we were up at about 6 a.m., got packed up, and back on the road by about 7. And our first spot was Ogon Misaki, or the Gold Cape. Now, this is just a 10-minute ride from the campsite, and it's just a 200-meter walk up to the lookout. We've been there, many times before. We go pretty much every year, but it's always worth it, folks. The lookout is this tall, wooden pagoda looking thing or a giant gazebo looking thing. And the 360-degree views from up there are incredible. And I've got all kinds of video and pictures and things up on the Cycling Hokkaido podcast Instagram page where you can check those out. But the Shakotan Blue is amazing. Treasure Island, the views of Treasure Island are most excellent. The island you can see from the lookout is called Treasure Island. It's a heart-shaped island, real freaky heart shape. It's so accurately a heart when you see from above. That's the picture that's at the lookout. But it's not, unfortunately, it's not called Treasure Island because of pirates. It's called Treasure Island because of the abundance of herring. Apparently, back in the day, that was the place to go herring fishing. And yes, folks, me too. I was also disappointed to learn it's not called Treasure Island because of pirates. Pirates just make everything cooler, don't they? Anyway, after Kamui Misaki, it was back to Sapporo for us. And of course, on the ride back, we stopped to see all of our old favorites, spots like Seita Kamui, Ebisu Rock and Daikoku Rock in Yoichi, Sakaimachi Street in Otaru, all of it, that route is just a beautiful place to ride. But again, yesterday, was 31 degrees Celsius in that area of Hokkaido. Hot. So, of course, we got gari-gari-kuns along the way. If you recall, gari-gari-kuns are those kind of ice candy bars that I love. They are so refreshing on a ride. But folks, friends, finally, I won a free gari-gari-kun ice candy. Now, folks, with the heroic amount of gari-gari-kuns I've eaten over the years, I've put this free gari-gari-kun thing down to just a legend. On every pack, it says, if you see Ep.155 written on the stick, you win a free ice candy. And I've never had one my entire life. Never. I always check the stick. I always eat the ice candy in anticipation of getting a free one. And in all my 27 years up until today, I have never won a free one. And finally, I got one today. Folks, let me tell you how rare this is. Even the staff in the 7-Eleven were excited over this rare event. And just in case you're wondering, my winning stick was inside a pear-flavored gari-gari-kun. And forgive me for being a bit dorky here, but winning a freebie of that children's treat just put a stamp of excellence on the whole ride for me. So, with the thrill of free food in my belly, it was easy to ride the last 30 or so kilometers of the dual ride's 219 kilometers. It was easy with that winner's high to ride the last few kilometers home. Folks, the last 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday of this very hot Obon was a most excellent ride in a beautiful place with a good friend. And a free gari-gari. But folks, what more can you ask for than that, right? It's just the stuff. That's the reason why we get out on the bicycle, was for this last couple of days of Obon for me. A wonderful experience all around. All right, folks, that is all for this week. Please hit that subscribe button, leave me a kind comment, and if you want to support the show, if the show has helped you out in any way and you want to help keep my wheels turning, you can do that by buying me some virtual coffees at buymeacoffee.com/Cycling Hokkaido. All right, folks, enjoy the last the last few days of Obon. Have fun out there. Love ya.
サイクリング北海道